A North Korean official has arrived in New York City for talks with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo ahead of what the White House says is an expected summit between President Donald Trump and North Korea's Kim Jong-un.
As you mentioned, he is now the highest ranking, or will be highest ranking, North Korean diplomat to visit the United States in 18 years.
The meeting comes as U.S. and North Korean officials discuss logistics for the possible Trump-Kim summit, again scheduled for June 12th. VOA's Elizabeth Chernoff has the latest.
Plans for a U.S.-North Korea summit, once in jeopardy, are now apparently moving forward. Top North Korean official Yong Chol is set to meet with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Top State Department officials were optimistic about the meetings, which will be held in New York. Heather Nauer, State Department spokesperson.
Leslie, hi.
A follow-up. Apparently, well, according to the Treasury's website, this official, Yong Chol, is under U.S. sanctions. Did he need to get a special waiver to come to New York?
Maya, and we've talked about these types of things before. When people from certain countries come to the United States, how exactly does that all work? There is an interagency process that allows for this kind of travel, this type of official travel to take place. We are making sure that we are in compliant with all of our own rules.
So which means that he did get away with it.
I would imagine that whatever was necessary was in fact done.
Can I have a follow-up from this morning's briefing with the ambassador?
Is this about North Korea?
It's just something that he said. That's left a little bit of confusion. When he was asked specifically whether rights abuses is going to be raised with the North Koreans, he said it is a matter of discussion.
Well, I think what he meant is that he's not going to get ahead of the Secretary's meetings and isn't going to get ahead of the President's meetings on this. We have a lot of very important matters to discuss with the government of North Korea, chiefly the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Beyond that, I'm not going to get into any of the specifics. We'll see how all of this goes.
So you don't think it's going to be?
I'm not saying that it will be. I'm not saying it won't be. We're just not going to get ahead of the Secretary's meetings that start this week. Hi, Andrea.
Can you let us know whether the acknowledged expert on North Korean nuclear facilities, Dr. Sig Hecker from Stanford's report, is at all part of the information that is being looked at by the
I can tell you
I'm
not personally familiar with the report that you referenced. I can look into that and see if I have anything for you on that.
There's a report today that says that it would take 15 years to denuclearize.
Okay. I haven't reviewed it. I'm not sure if anyone here at the State Department has reviewed this outside professor's report. If we have anything on it for that on you, I'll let you know.
Can you give us some idea of what we can expect in terms of any kind of public press coverage?
I can tell you there will be press engagement. We're still working through all the details. We are heading up there tomorrow sometime in the day, and I'll let you know as we get more clarity on what those exact timelines will look like in the events. Okay. Hey, Nick, I think you were next.
Do you have any sense for what accounted for the North Koreans' change in position? I mean, the Secretary testified last week that all the U.S. was getting was dial tones, and now suddenly there seems to be this fulsome dialogue.
I'm not going to presume to know why the North Koreans and the United States started having conversations again. It's not my place to do so. I can just tell you now that we are looking forward to having these meetings, and I think we've seen a tremendous amount of progress over the past few days alone.
Okay, and just one more. Is it your belief now, or the State Department's belief, that the Singapore summit will go ahead on June 12th?
That is what we're planning for, but we'll see what happens. Okay, Francesca.
Just follow up to Matt's question. Can you at least tell us if Secretary Pompeo meeting in New York will be about setting the agenda and talking about what denuclearization means for each part and each country?
Well, this will be the Secretary's third meeting with Yong Chol. They've had obviously very deep conversations where they've talked about a lot of detail about what the United States expectations are. Again, I'm not going to get ahead of those meetings. I'll let the Secretary handle it with him, and I'm not going to, debate it here from the podium with all of you.
But it's not on logistical matters. I
Yeah,
guess it's
we'll
more on
see.
the agenda.
We will see. I have not asked the Secretary that question personally, what exactly is going to be discussed. I think the primary conversation is going to be as we lead up to this meeting that we're planning for June the 12th. Okay? Yeah, go ahead.
If Kim Yong Chol is provided with a waiver by the State Department, has he also been approved to travel anywhere other than New York?
I believe that if anyone were to travel beyond New York, that they would need additional waivers for that. I don't have any, or they would need some sort of an approval for that. I don't have anything for you more on that.
And why have the meetings in the U.S. and not elsewhere?
That's where they're being held. I think it's great. Easy trip up to New York, and you all can get up there easily, too. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, thank you. North Korea asking United States to guarantee their safety. Is it a system guarantee for North Korea or regime guarantee? What is it?
A what guarantee?
What is the guarantee?
I'm sorry,
for the what?
state the last part again?
Guarantee for the what? Is that the system guarantee for their regime or
Will they be protected while they're here in the United States? Is that what you're asking? Yes, that is something that our security apparatus affords to every foreign leader coming into the United States when they come in for meetings.
Why is guarantee for that? What is it? I mean,
Pardon me?
Is it security guarantees or economic,
There's no talk about economic guarantees, but we do provide, to answer your question, security protection when foreign officials do travel here to the United States, especially at a high level. Hey, Nick.
There's reporting today that the U.S. was prepared to unveil a new round of sanctions on North Korea, but has postponed that indefinitely, set to be unveiled as early as today. Do you think that kind of contradicts the idea or the notion that maximum pressure will continue until there's complete verifiable?
No, I think this is something under discussion at the Department of Treasury. I just have to refer you to them on that. I think it, it speaks volumes, the fact that we're having meetings right now and the importance of the denuclearization, our policy on that. By the way, while we're talking about this issue, I just want to highlight the great work that the government of Singapore has done and how much assistance that they have provided to the United States, especially Prime Minister Lee in particular, who's been gracious with his time, gracious with all their efforts in helping the United States to plan for this summit. They're obviously our strategic partner, and they've just been incredibly generous in agreeing to host an upcoming meeting. So I just wanted to highlight that and thank the government of Singapore for that. Yeah.
Can we assume that the other side did show up in Singapore, that our pre-advanced group is actually working with North Koreans?
I don't have any information for you on that, but if I do, I'll let you know. Hi, Said.
Yes.
Sure.
Can we just go back to the location for a second? Just in light of symmetry, why is this meeting happening in New York versus D.C., and why isn't there an opportunity for the equivalent of Pompeo to meet with Trump when Pompeo did meet with Kim Jong-un?
No, I think it's important that we're going up to New York. I know the Secretary looks forward to engaging him in New York, and that's all I have for you on that, that we're going to be in New York, and we look forward to those meetings.
But what message does that send that it's New York and not D.C.?
I don't think it sends any kind of message. I mean, if you're the North Koreans, you're traveling a really far distance, regardless of whether it's Washington, D.C. or New York City. And I think it shows the importance of this meeting to look forward and look ahead to the planned meetings that the president would have with his counterpart in the future.
Kim Yong Chol is the highest-ranking North Korean official to visit the U.S. in nearly 2 decades. He attended the 2018 Winter Olympics this year as part of North Korea's delegation to the Games. The former spy chief was also reportedly involved in the 2014 cyber attacks that targeted Sony Pictures. His New York visit comes as a U.S. delegation talks with officials in North Korea's demilitarized zone, and teams on the ground in Singapore rush to finalize summit logistics. President Donald Trump, who abruptly called off the historic summit last week, is now moving forward, tweeting in part, quote, "Solid response to my letter. Thank you." Experts say the North Korean leader's decision to send his right-hand man to the U.S. is a promising start. Patrick McGeckern, Wilson Center Public Policy Fellow.
I think that the North Koreans have never wanted to pursue denuclearization. But I think that they're willing to entertain it in exchange for economic and security rewards. And so that's really, I think, the crux of the matter, to see if the United States and its allies can have leverage with the North Koreans to pursue our goals, which are the complete, verifiable, irreversible denuclearization of North Korea.
Meantime, the White House confirms President Trump will meet with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on June 7th, just 5 days ahead of the potential peace summit in Singapore, in a meeting that is sure to include North Korea on the agenda.